Yeah, so we are here to talk about the future. And as you remember, last year, for those of you that were with us last year, we talked a little bit about that we were going to unify with the Roasters Guild in America. And now that has happened. Yay! So we are actually here just to talk a little bit about where we are at this point in the unification and what does it actually mean, you know. So as soon as Isa, I will hand it over to her so he can actually control us because we are a group of, you know, difficult people. Yes, okay, maybe we can do that. Maybe we can introduce ourselves. If we start with you, Rob.
Hi, my name is Rob, and I'm currently on the Roasters Guild of America Education Committee chair, but I'll be moving back down into the Education Committee during the merger to make way for our European counterparts, which I'm excited about. So.
I'm Steve. I'm a part of the Events Committee for Roasters Guild, and I'm also part of the Unification Committee.
My name is Philip Ackerblom, and I'm in the Events Committee.
You're gonna have to. My name is Filip Bartalak, and I'm in Education Committee together with Morten, and in Unification Committee together with Joanna, Steve, and Andy, who is not here. Yeah.
Yes, I'm Joanna Alm, and I'm a part of the Unification Committee.
Hi, I'm Lisa Lawson. I'm in the Membership and Communications Committee, currently on my own, but enlisting new recruits. So yeah, get in touch.
You can hold this. And I'm Sonja. I'm the current chairwoman of the Roasters Guild of Europe. So I'm, this is, yeah, and Konrad is here. Okay.
I'm Morten Mønshav, and I'm involved in education and research was in SCAE, now in SCA, and also the Guild. So if there's something with education or research, I'm there.
Hello, I'm Emilio Lopez. I joined the Roasters Guild back in 2001. Since then, I've been to most of their events. I've volunteered hundreds of hours for the Guild. I currently hold the position of the chair. And before that, I also was part of the events committee. And what else can I say? That's it.
Hi, I'm Konrad. I come from Poland, and I'm in the events committee within the Roasters Guild.
As we're trying to fix the AV, we can just go ahead and start as it's a panel discussion anyway. I'll introduce myself. I'm Isa. I'm the Guild's director for SEA, taking care of all the guilds worldwide, the Barista Guilds, both in Europe and America, the Roasters Guild, the Roasters Guild of Europe, and the Coffee Technicians Guild, and maybe soon a Producers Guild as well. So we're here to talk about the unification of two of those guilds, the Roasters Guild of Europe and the Coffee Roasters Guild. And as you're attending a Roasters Guild of Europe event, it's going to be important for you guys to be aware of what's happening, and it's important for us to understand what you're looking for from Guild. So we're going to start with what we've done so far, and I'll be asking some of our panelists here. I think as part of the Road to Unification, a unification committee was formed. Joanna, do you mind telling us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Unification Committee were created about a year ago to make sure that the merge were going well, that we have all the foundations for this to happen, to look after that, like we are two representatives from both previous side that are going to, or were going to, look after the value for the members and for the community, and making sure that all of this, got the foundation for it to build something good for the future. So we started with a meeting in San Francisco. When was it? When were we there? March. Yeah. Santa Ana we were in.
Close enough.
We were in California. There we had a very efficient meeting. It was the first time we really sat down and came with our different experience and ideas, what our members wanted and were looking for, and what opportunity and challenges we had. So the goal on this meeting were to start to build bylaws and a mission and a vision. And from that, we've been having monthly meetings. About this. We built a mission and a vision, went back to our working groups and the EC and checked what do you think about this and what's the interest. And so it's been a phase of a lot of feedback, going back to your group, checking, coming back, do a new draft, sending out that. We finished the bylaws just before Budapest and had a meeting there. We have had a voting, and the bylaws has, of course, now, as we're sitting here, gone through.
Thank you. Thanks for giving us a short update of what the Unification Committee has done so far. You mentioned creating a new mission, a new vision for the Unified Guild. Do we have a name for the Unified Guild? Emilio, do you know?
I do know. So from February of next year on, we are going to be the Coffee Roasters Guild. So we're going to, from now on, don't have any Americas or European. We're all part of the same group. And I think that was probably the first thing we were able to get clear when we met in Santa Ana, and not just got clear, but we felt it really good. And that was part of the initial, I think that was the best result of getting us together in the same room, to not feel that us and them feeling. That was the first thing that needed to happen. We needed to feel part of the same exact team, which is what I feel completely now. I think some of you might still see us as the guests, but no, we are part of your same guild now, especially from February on. So yes, we came up with a mission and vision. So this is the kind of teamwork that does happen in the back rooms, and this took us a while because again, we're working on something together. And first of all, thinking about you, the members. Remember that this is a member organization. This is a volunteering organization. We are also members. We might be sitting on this side, but just like you guys, we were there sitting on the same chairs before. So this is, again, anyone can have the opportunity to be part of the working groups and to be part of the advisory council in the future. And we encourage and value that. This is what makes us strong, because we're a team made of members. So our mission and vision, I'm going to read them, but then I'm going to pass the mic here to our friend Philip, because he had a lot to do with this, because we discussed this for hours. Probably we were like an hour into this, but then he put the right words, and let's ask him what got him inspired to come up with these beautiful words, because it really, in the end, we want to be seen as a group that really inspires a diverse coffee roasting community through the development and promotion of the roasting profession. That word profession, in the Roasters Guild, we had, instead of profession, we had the craft of roasting. And the craft is something that we all can relate, and we all see it as we do something special with our hands and all that. But it's really what we're really trying to promote is this profession, because we all run businesses, or we all work with businesses, and we depend on our businesses. This is a trade organization. We might see each other as members and individuals, but in the end, we depend on an industry. And this is why, as well, that word profession is so important. The vision to be the most desired and thriving community of engaged members, attracting every coffee roaster worldwide. Again, we want to be seen as one guild. We want to be seen as that group of professionals that will eventually teach us how to roast, or share information, or lead this industry into a thriving industry. So again, this took us a while. This was a collective work. And again, I'm going to pass it on to Philip right here, because again, these words, the good ones and the sexy ones, came from him.
It's so nice. Oh, wow. Oh, it's weird to hear my voice in the mic. I was talking earlier this morning without mic, and I'm gotta get used to it. Yeah. So when we were into creating the mission and vision statements, we had to think of what you guys actually would want this organization to be, and we felt a huge responsibility on us for that. So it was you and also the other side, because we're going to be united. So looking into your eyes and also imagining the other eyes on the other side of the ocean, and then putting in the words something that would be something interesting to you, that the organization that you would want to be, you would want to create, not us, because we may be gone pretty soon, or maybe not soon, but play the violin, please. We may be gone, but no, not yet. Anyway, so we were thinking of what this organization will be. If this is us being there in the working group, advisory council, whatever you name it, or if there's you, and so you can feel comfortable in realizing this mission. This is a military term, so it's on mission, and then where are we going to be in a few years, or in 10, 11, 15, 20 years? And as we've put it, is that we want actually to make this organization, Coffee Roasters Guild, to be the most sexy organization for the roasters in the world. So we want to be so attractive that every roaster, every person that is roasting coffee in the world will want to join us, will want to be in that room with us together, learn from us and share the knowledge and experience. And this is what we actually put in the nice words, without using the word sexy, because that may not be acceptable somewheres. But we want that diversity, and we actually wanted also in that vision statement to put some pressure on us, on the group, that we actually have to work hard to be so attractive, that we are attractive to you and to others who are not in. So I think this is it, and I hope that all of you feel good with this vision, and this is where you want to be, on that boat going to that direction. Yeah.
Thank you. I think what leaves us wondering, or what leaves me wondering when we're discussing, we're unifying two guilds, we're creating a new mission and vision, and being the most attractive guild to all the roasters certainly sounds sexy, but what are the benefits? What is the benefit of actually combining two guilds that already exist and that are already delivering value to our members? Conrad, can you share a bit more about those benefits?
Yeah, of course. So It is stated actually in our vision to be the most desired association, that it's gathering all the roasters from worldwide actually, and we actually wanted to do. I mean, for us it was about the diversity basically. So there was more like in the meeting in San Francisco with with Joanna. When we were like in the room, there was that kind of like a feeling that it's us and them. I mean, and then there was some sort of I don't know how that happened. There was some sort of like a turning point, and then we started to say us. Like all of a sudden, we started to say us, and it was like so natural. And then we just clicked on, and then we've created the mission and vision. Not this one, but a bit longer. And that was like from that time, I was like we and us, I like completely felt that this whole world, it's like a one thing. We so different, but we share one goal, and it's to better coffee roasting and to have better everything regarding coffee within our guild. So I think that was the reason behind it, to have that diversity of different people in the guild.
Thank you. I hear you mentioned to better coffee roasting. I think I remember that being our first mission statement that we ended that meeting with. So it's really the goal of this group, I think. But I'm sure I'm not alone in wondering what else is there. Of course, we are a group of diverse people. We want to emphasize the diversity, but I think you're all here as well to develop yourself as a coffee roasting professional. And we're here at an educational event, and I'm wondering, there's likely different standards or different education systems in both the US and Europe. So can we share a little bit more about how or what the unification will do to education, Rob?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is one of the things I was very excited about with unification in general, is the opportunity to kind of look at each other's education systems and see the different perspectives that we're coming at it with, and be able to kind of bring those together into a cohesive unit. Part of this is going to be in terms of terminology. As you know, the industry is not necessarily great at using one word for one thing. Sometimes there's 5 words for one thing, and we have to figure out what we mean. But as part of the unification and part of the unifying of the education, we do have more common language occurring, which should better some of the communication that we have as roasters with one another. In addition, being able to work with Morten and his working group on the new education kind of package has been fantastic. One of the things that we really liked about the SCAE program historically was that it had this really nice like beginners, intermediate, and then the professional. And to have a set of classes where we basically teach students just how to get on a roaster and not catch it on fire was something we didn't have with our level 1. Our level 1 was quite a bit longer, and we thought it was absolutely fantastic, because that's the most important. Like, get on a machine, figure out how to do it, and don't burn the place down. It's, number 1, right? So, but some of the structure, it makes a lot more sense and has really helped out. And we both, from each side of the table, I think, brought some really cool information and some really cool ideas so far as being able to educate people in terms of coffee roasting. And yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be fantastic, and I can't wait for the intermediate and the professional to also be launched, and for everyone here to be able to check those courses out, because they're really shaping up quite nicely. So.
Yeah, about research or education?
Yes.
Or both? Okay, I'll start with education then. Yeah, I think I'll just start with, there are so few coffee roasters. You know, the concentration of coffee roasters around the world is very small compared to baristas, for example. So I feel as a coffee roaster, it's always been a bit lonely. There's few, and the closest ones to you are with your competitors. And they really don't want to, you know, tell you anything, because that's a big secret, you know, the profile curves. You know. So I think it's that's a big problem for coffee roasters in general. It's been a bit difficult for I think to have the critical mass of a community really thriving. So this rare species that we are, the more we, the bigger the group becomes, the more amazing things happens. And this is certainly true for the education and with the unification. I don't know if it's not been a big group. So the nice thing about the SCAE system was that it was very structured. The not so nice thing about it was done by extremely few people. So it wasn't very broad. So there was things, you know, that could be, you know, well, why is it done like that? Because I don't do it like that, you know, and who says that, you know, it should be done like that? And so the American system is extremely broad, and it's made by a lot of people over many years. So that was very clear when I sat down with Nolan, and we had 4 days where we went, you know, really through each tradition's system and merged it, you know, subject by subject, that it was such a rich combined system from both tradition. It was amazing to have 4 days to just concentrate on you know, seeing that in one process. It was it's certainly a much better and much richer system that comes out currently. And you know, just meeting all these people and talking coffee, you know, you can't get enough if you are a coffee geek, right? So having a bigger family now is just amazing, I think personally, and I feel that it's a critical mass. You know, the way you make an atomic bomb is, you know, getting enough plutonium together, and then it. So I think that's what's happening at the moment. So that's for the education, and I think it's very connected. Can I jump to the research question? Because it's very connected to the research, because when you do education, you're very aware that you have to test people on facts, and it's very clear when you go through a system like that okay, we're sure about that, but you know, kind of there's a consensus about this, but you know, it's getting very clear what is just, you know, something that people have said enough times so that they believe it themselves. I'm speaking also about myself now. And then that feeds into the research, and that's exactly why Rob and I met and somehow managed to find the time and the finances to meet. You know, Rob find the finances to come, but you know, there's a lot of investment in doing stuff like that. So the guild and also SCA. You know, getting research done takes the right competences and the right resources combined in the right way at the right moment. So it's not that we are able to raise a lot of money necessarily in ourselves, you know, with member fees or whatever, but we know what's going on, and we can formulate the questions that are interesting so precisely that everybody knows that this is the right question to pursue. And we can also provide the methodology, because now we have several universities connected to what we do, that we can actually provide the methods and you know, the statistical models and all that to actually pursue this question, which is what it takes for somebody to put up the money. So I also think for the research, and now we are a much bigger family with a lot of huge networks into the industry and into several different universities now that has got each of their strengths. So this project goes, you know, to this university, another one goes to another one. So I also feel that the whole atomic bomb metaphor holds for the research part connected to the education. So I really think that there's a bright future to get out of all this, community claim fog, and get, to the next level of clarity through the education and research systems working together, and also see the camps like this as an opportunity to do research. We can do that. There's a lot of people and a lot of roasters, and so we can really do a lot of research just during the camps, but also between camps, and funding possibilities and all that. So that was just my thoughts on that.
Thank you, Morten. Related to the atomic bomb that apparently the Coffee Roasters Guild is becoming, if it explodes and if it launches, aren't you afraid that we won't see through the fog anymore? What I'm trying to get at is we're talking about big things, about unifying the education system, about research, and it seems like a lot of processes involved and a lot of sort of bigger picture is involved. And I think coming from a local community, I wonder, will there be any relevance for me as a roaster in whether it's in a small town or in a bigger city, but how will the Coffee Roasters Guild, that is then a global guild, how will we maintain a local relevance? Steve, do you have an idea?
I have no answers whatsoever, other than the fact that apparently now we're managing 2 atomic bombs. Thank you for that, Morten. But there's a lot of there's a lot of challenges, I think, in unifying the guilds. There's this feeling of isolation, or that the guilds and the structure is getting too big. There is a lot of questions. There's a lot of old ideas of I like things the way they are, and if it isn't broke, why should I fix it? But I think moving forward with all of the benefits of, again, gaining a larger family, gaining a lot better access and more unified and universal languages so that we can communicate, and really everyone with the same goal of developing coffee roasting and essentially being a better coffee roaster. I think that's what we're all here that's why we're all here at camp, to just learn the foundations to become a better coffee roaster so that we can express ourselves and our ideas better in whatever culture. I think that that's really what unification's about. Getting involved and feeling isolated isn't necessarily the case. Again, like Emilio said, we've all been on that side, not necessarily on stage with a slideshow behind us with a microphone in our hand talking to people on purpose, which is not the most comfortable thing in the world for me. But I mean, there are tons of opportunities to volunteer. I think that as we unify and as the guild grows and it gets bigger, we have a lot of different committees that are coming out. There's still the events committee. There's a diversity committee that's coming out as well, which will address a lot of other concerns. There's a...
They're up there for your reference.
Oh, there we go. The competitions, education. So there are many ways for you to get involved, and actually that's almost a request and a plea for please get involved. A lot of you are first-time attendees, and this is a really great way to get involved. It's a really great way to start talk to any of us about being involved. If you want to get on panels to do research, or that's what you're interested in, if you're interested in education and you want to be an AST and help to provide education and really give back to the community, that's another great way. There's a lot of challenges ahead, but I think I see a bright future. No one really knows what's going to happen, but I think we can definitely prepare. And with the working group that we have in store for us, I think we're going to build the foundations for something, really memorable and really great for the future.
Awesome. Sounds great. Thank you. Joanna, do you want to add something to that?
Yeah,
sure.
So say in particular, just to give a bit of background, you're on our second event. But we haven't actually had a diversity committee before, so this is brand new for us. one of the first things that came up when we sat and talked about what committees it should be. It was like, okay, but how do we cover, how do we make sure that every country in Europe, and you know how different cultures we have, every different state and every city in small town in US, like how do we actually like make sure we put foundations so we have a plan for this, and to make sure that everyone can see value in it and to hit our goals and the mission and vision that we have set. So that one I'm really excited about. And another one is, of course, that we're having the competitions as one bit as well, and nothing being set in what that can or can't be. Like, it's all the possibilities for that, and for us being involved in like we now have the chapters and national competitions, and it's nothing that's saying that we couldn't do more things locally.
Awesome, thank you. I think we're about ready to open it up to the floor for questions. Sonia will be going out. Before I actually want to kickstart the questions. We were talking about, or you were talking about, a universal language and certain consolidation of certain terms, and I think what popped into my head immediately is sort of the diversity of languages that we have and the issues that may come up with that. I think in Europe there's a little more diversity on that sense, but also in the US there's a lot of Spanish speakers, a lot of other communities, and so how do you think we can handle the variety of languages and making sure that, as Joanna said, everyone's included, we make sure that everybody feels represented. Rob, do you want to take it?
Yeah, I think on the education side, moving toward this AST program has been exceptional for that as well, because formerly in the old Heritage SCAA, our education committee was responsible for generating the PowerPoints, the handouts, the tests, and managing those, which is crazy. And then we would also try the best we could to get them into different languages, which is also crazy because most of us are English speakers. So when we would go abroad to teach a class, usually we had no choice but to present it in English and then to have a translator as well. But what we're doing now, and one of the big differences, is we're providing information, we're providing objectives and KSAs, which are knowledge, skills, and attributes that we're trying to have the students learn, in addition to the teachers being aware of what's on the testing. And so now each individual instructor is able to craft their own PowerPoint, their own handout, and everything. And the goal of it is, if we have some people in Spain that want a class in Spanish, well, hopefully there's an AST who can do that and who speaks Spanish as a native language. And so not having kind of a centralized group, I think, really helps with that, or a centralized set of curriculum, because now everybody's able to develop it in a way that suits them and suits the culture that they're going to and the styles within the culture and where they're going. So while there is a language issue, being able to be incredibly flexible, which I think we have in the system, is fantastic for that. So.
Thank you. Any questions from the audience?
Okay, Ben. Right. Have it a good one.
Thanks, guys. And firstly, I'd just say that I think the unification is great, and I voted yes. I don't want to add any petrol to the atomic bomb, but America and Europe are only 2 of the 7 continents. So are there any plans for the vision of truly making it a global kind of front for those other places to contribute to and benefit from the Guild?
Yes.
Indeed. So, as you said, they are only 2 continents. And the great thing about learning from each other and using what's worked in the past, like your chapter system, allows us now for pretty much any country to ask or to be able to get in that system. So recently, I think it was posted, like there's 4 new chapters that came up. So now there's 34. And I would envision soon that there's a process already. You can go online and apply to become a chapter, any country. I personally have that as a goal for next year, to encourage that to happen internationally. I encourage our Brazilian friends that are in the audience and at this event. They're the biggest producer in the world, and they're the second biggest consumer in the world, and they probably need to be also part of this guild. And I would encourage our friends from Australia to become also a chapter in the future, and so on and so on and so on. You know, that is how we plan, and we've discussed this, and that's part of the diversity committee, to encourage chapters to keep being created.
To jump onto that as well from Emilio, you know, as far as the other continents as well, I just got back from a trip from Korea. And there's a huge SEA membership in Korea and China, and we're definitely looking into doing some events in that area too, and really involving that coffee culture and that coffee community, which is vastly different than both here and the Americas. So I think, again, that just really increases our breadth of knowledge and our experiences and our opportunities to learn from one another. So I think the opportunities are huge. Hopefully, again, if you are interested, look for hopefully an event happening in either Korea or China, or definitely East Asia in the very near future.
And if I can just add one little thing, and sorry, I can see some of the sponsors looking this way. You know, this unification, I think, is just music to their ears as well. They're part of our guild, and they're, you know, imagine what they used to go through, you know, like looking at every event as an independent event. You know, now, you know, just this opens up the door, not just for sponsors, but in general, for any of, you know, anyone that sees us. We are, you know, a bigger audience, and a probably a one-stop shop for a lot of us.
And I'm just gonna add to that. Ben is actually from Australia, so he got the, you know, the prize for the longest traveler to this event. The longest travel, I guess. 28 hours. 28, only 28. Okay. Any more questions? Yes.
Jack Ryan from Sweden, Ireland. Can you tell us the future of the camp? Will there be multiple events that we can take part in anywhere in the world?
Good question.
Yeah, it's like events for roasters was like one of the things I was missing when I was in like starting with coffee 2004. So the whole idea with like doing educations, doing competitions, it's not only like the competition itself, it's like creating an event around it. That's why it was like pushed into the WCE before, like World Coffee Events. So there will be multiple events, and like the idea is to have it global events that suits your needs, like when you have time. Because today when we were like finding time for this event, it was like, no, we can't do it like this week because then it's like the Nordic Roaster Forum, or like it's, so I think it's up to you guys to, there will be events all year around, like there will be sourcing trips, there will be sensory summits, and you have to find a time when it suits your business and what you want to attend, because there will be a big goodie bag out there. So it's just like pick your choices.
Hopefully around 4 to 6 origin trips a year. So hopefully in what we're trying to do, planning with the SCA and Roaster Guild, or actually Coffee Roaster Guild, is there should be around 4 to 6 origin trips a year planned in conjunction with Roaster Guild, so that we would be focused on roasting and education. It's a really great opportunity if you're not familiar with the country to go see a country. I've been on a bunch of them. Emilio has been on a bunch of them. Rob was just in Kenya last year on a Roaster Guild Origin trip, and it's a really great survey. It's a great way to kind of get hands-on, feet on the ground in a country, and we really plan to. That's always been a part of our guild, and we really want to bring that and share that experience, and really want to continue that program on as well.
Yeah, I think just adding to that, I think, Jack, maybe you were wondering, is camp going to happen next year, or is camp going away? And I think we can say it won't. I think the group will agree that there's a plan of increasing events, not taking events away. Unification doesn't mean that all of a sudden an event that was created to this target group, a European roastering target group, is now going to be going away, or there's content coming that isn't relevant to a local audience. Anyone else? That's what you want, Joanna wanted to add. Perfect. So I think you saw. Yes, I'm aware. Just wanted to continue a little bit on the upcoming events as I was going through them on the presentation. I think we have a few of the upcoming events. So essentially, we are combining existing events, and so I think the first upcoming in 2018 will be Sensory Summit. Can someone talk a little bit about that event?
I think I've talked enough, but too much. Yes, this event is held at UC Davis. UC Davis is an agricultural school in California. They've been kind enough to host us. This is going to be the third time we have that event there. This is my probably one of my favorites to go, because first of all, we are at a university. We're being taught by professors, engineers, researchers, and I'm gonna probably pass the mic to Morten because he was there last year, or the first time. And then we're able to see research, not only coffee research, but also, we've been tasting, we were exposed to the tasting wheel of honey. We tasted olive oil. We not just only tasted olive oil, but we saw data on how they're tasting and measuring and analyzing cacao. We went to one of the classes that they have, and now they're doing chemical engineering based in coffee, and how coffee is transformed from solid matter to a liquid matter, and what mass is lost, and it's insane. So again, this is a great event to go to. I know it's a little far from here, but some of us do travel 22 hours to get here, and at 28, and they're for sure worth it. I don't know. Can you share with us your experience there? You're in research. You saw what they have. They have a new campus there. Some roasting companies donated quite a bit of money to make a curriculum of coffee. A full curriculum at their school.
Yeah, it was an amazing event in the sense that it was on a university, and there was almost a 50-50 between people from the coffee business and researchers in the presentation. So it was just an amazing mixture of the two different traditions talking about coffee. So that was a really amazing event. And also seeing the new coffee center they are planning. It was just, a big building. That's the sensory lab for coffee, and that's the GCMS, and that's the, here we've got the roasters, and it was just all coffee in one building with a lot of the research instruments that I know from Copenhagen, but this was just coffee. So this is one of the, and there was another small interesting thing that we were told there, because they focus a lot on beer, wine, and olive oil. And they shared with us the numbers of students that applied. And if you know something about how it works in a university, they basically get their money from students paying, so that the number of students applying is an early indicator of the future finance in the different areas. And wine was obviously, constant and high, and coffee was just shooting up the last 3 years or something like that, exceeding that, which means future funding will go to that area. So we saw the building, we saw the machines, it was 70% funded, and we just saw the basis of the funding, which is the students, went like this. So this is going to be an amazing place, and thanks to unification, it's our place.
By our meaning you.
Any further question? You had one? Go ahead.
Yep, I think this is great because you can more or less redone roasting and stuff, but for Sensely, it's going to be amazing. My question is about the online platforms, if you're thinking about developing it, because with a small country, I'm from Georgia, and in small countries, I don't think that SCA events going to come anytime soon. So what about the people who cannot come to the every event? So maybe online platform could work well.
Who wants to take that question? Philip.
I think it's quite important in the world we live today, when everybody got access to internet. I think live streaming and sharing within the community is quite important. I remember one origin trip when I was in Indonesia, and I was in far out, and was really poor family cooking dinner for me in an open fire. And when I was leaving, the children wanted to take a selfie of me, and put on their Facebook. So for me, it was okay, everybody's got access to knowledge nowadays, and so I think if we can just share all these events, even if you don't have time to go there, you can access by streaming or something like that.
I mean, the online education system, something we can learn online.
So part of that is going to be with the new campus system. Either you can go to a campus or there's an approved venue sort of option where it doesn't necessarily have to be a campus, but if the equipment is right for the education to happen, then an instructor can come out and do some instruction. There's going to be continuing education stuff that maybe falls outside of the certification system, which could be streamed events or streamed education stuff. In the US, we've been doing the Trier-side chats, which have basically been play on words for fireside chat, that sort of thing. But it's just someone will have a discussion topic, and then it's an online discussion, which anybody is welcome to join in, and then it's also recorded and posted later. So far as doing the entire AST, foundations, intermediate, and professional online, it's not possible because it requires hands-on testing. But that doesn't mean that that's the only type of education that's going to be around, as research will be coming out and will be posted for members, and there's going to be access to just videos of speakers at different events and stuff like that as well, from my understanding. So, yeah.
Yeah, and also we are not only events providers, basically. And so the community, it's very important for us, which means that we definitely try to support as much as we can member-driven events. So that means that you can organize an event that we can help you with. With our knowledge and expertise, we can do it, and with the knowledge of people from all, because of the unification, from everywhere, basically.
Any more questions?
All right. Well, I think to end us with is really, let me just get to the right, there we go. We've created an email address, crg@sea.coffee. If you email to that address, it gets distributed amongst this group. And I think it's really important that the Guild is something that we do for you. So if we don't hear your concerns, ideas, thoughts, issues, then this group doesn't know what to do. I mean, they have a pretty good clue, as you you can see, and out of their experience. But really, we're a membership association. We're creating this for the members. So I'd like to encourage everyone to email or get in touch with any of these people. Come and talk to us at the event or after, anywhere you run into us in the world at any event. And I guess with that, exactly. With that note, that's the end of our panel. I think we've kind of run out of time as well. I'd like to thank everyone for listening, and I'd like to thank the working group members and our friends from the US for for helping us here. Thanks, everyone.